Shweta Shah and I am your instructor for the subject microprocessor and microcontroller. In this subject we have started unit 3, that is introduction to 8-bit AVR microcontroller. In this session we are going to see today the topic, that is AVR memories and the registers. So first let us see outlines for this unit. These are like, first we will see the AVR data memory, then we will see in this data memory as a program memory, data memory and register files, IO register files, extended IO registers and so on. Then we will see the internal SRAM and EEPROM memory. Okay, so first let me start with the first topic, that is the AVR data memory. In AVR microcontroller, there are two kinds of memory, that is known as a code memory space and the data memory space. In program is stored in the code memory space, whereas the data memory stores the data. The three types of memory in the AVR architecture are like, first one is the program memory, where we will store the program. Second one is the data memory, where we will store the data, and third one is the EEPROM, that is electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. Okay, so these are the three different kind of memory that can be used with this AVR controller, or you can say that are inbuilt available in the AVR controller. Okay, so first let us start with the program memory. The program memory is also referred as a flash memory, and in its naming we are using like 8 mega 8, 8 mega 16, 8 mega 32. There the number 8, 16 or 32 that represents the size of the flash memory in the kilobyte form. Okay, so these are also known as the flash memory, and depending upon the settings in the fused bits, the entire flash memory can be used as the application storage, or the portion of that flash can be used in form of code block, okay, as for a bootloader of the program. Okay, so you can use whole memory or the part of the memory as a bootloader. Okay, this is the example of this bootloader section. This is whole your memory, that is the flash section, and from that some portion you can use as the boot flash section. Okay, so this is the this can be used for the booting purpose. Next thing we can say is the flash memory is the non-volatile. That means the data that you have stored in the flash memory that does not go away when the microcontroller loses the power. Okay, so that data will remain as it is when you a second time turn on. This flash cannot be accessed quickly as the data memory, and the individual bytes cannot be modified at a time. So it is not good place to store variable which is constantly changing. You can store the data that is not going to be changed. Okay, but whenever your data is going to be changed, you should not store that into this flash memory. However, in addition to storing your application code, it is the good place to put constant like lookup tables and string, etc. So you can store those data that are not going to be changed frequently. Okay, so that data you can also store in the flash memory. So rather than using this flash memory for storing the data, the controller has the data memory. That is our next topic, that is data memory. Data memory is composed of the four parts. First one is the register file, second one is the IO register, third one is the extended IO register, and fourth one is the internal SRAM, that is static RAM. Okay, so this data memory can be divided into four parts. You can use consider it as a register or IO register or extended IO or the internal SRAM. Unlike the flash memory, data memory is not composed of single memory type, rather than it is a continuous mapping of the addresses across the multiple memory types. So this is not just a one kind of memory, but it is the combination of different memories. Like you are using some registers to store your register, or you consider it as a register file. You use some register to consider it as a IO register, or you can use some memory portion as a static RAM. Okay, and the generation of that particular memory, or the how you have designed that particular memory, that will be different for the different part. Like your register file will have some different kind of construction, and internal SRAM will have some different kind of construction. Okay, so this is the data memory. Here I have shown this is the breakdown of data memory, where we the location and the size of the general purpose registers, IO registers, extended registers are the same for all across the chip. Okay, so this is the general purpose register, this is the IO register, this is the general purpose RAM, and so on. Okay, so if you consider this general purpose register, then in extended way you can see this, like it has a total 32 register. For the IO register, if you see extended way, then it will have some IO register that are used for the IO operations. Okay, so that will be listed over here. Then you can consider it as a RAM. Okay, we have given it as a continuous memory addresses, but that not necessary they are connected together. They are constructed differently, and then we are assigning them some addresses, and we are considering that addresses are continuous. Okay, and by using that continuous addresses, we are considering that memory is continuous, but actually it is the different kind of memories that are used inside the controller, and we are giving some addresses to that locations. Okay, so this is the data memory, and here the size of the RAM will be SRAM will vary between different models that we have listed in last session, that some model has a 0.5 kilobyte of RAM, some SRAM, some model has a 1 kilobyte of SRAM, some has a 2 kilobyte of SRAM, and so on. So that will be depending upon your model, which model you have choose. Okay, next we will see the register file. And the register file, this is the first part of your data memory. Okay, register file is the first part of your data memory, and this register file begins at the start of the data memory, and it contains total 32 general purpose working registers that are directly connected to ALU, that is your arithmetic and logical unit. The general purpose working registers are used as an operand for most of the instructions. The general purpose registers are extremely important and useful because that are used for all arithmetic and logical operations, and they are directly connected to the ALU. Okay, any data manipulation in area requires using one of the registers. This is the general structure, where this is the ALU, this is your 32 general purpose register that we have represented as a 32 cross 8. Why cross 8? Because each register can contain 8 bits. Okay, so this connection will be of bus, and that bus will be of 8 bits. So these registers are connected with the ALU, and any operation you want to perform on some data that you have to store into this register, and then some operation can be generated, and after that operation some result is generated, and that is also stored inside some register and also in the status register. What is status register? That we will see in the next session. Okay, so in short, this general purpose register are register where you stores the data that you want to perform some operation on. Okay, so these are the general purpose register that total 32 are available. Here in the register number R26 to R27, R27 and R29, R30 and R32 are given the spatial name, that is X, Y and Z respectively, combinedly. Okay, that means combining the register R26 and 27, I will say it as a register X, R28 and 29 I will say as a register Y, and R30 and 31 as a Z, and they are often referred to as a XYZ pointer, as they can be used for storing or retrieving the data from memory by placing the address in them. They are generally used for the pointing purpose, and they are generally containing the addresses. Okay, so we are combining them so that our address can be of 16 bit. Okay, here this is the diagram. In this this 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 are represented as a X register, Y register and Z register. First one is the lower byte of X register, second one is the higher byte of X register. In extended way we can say it like this. It is the R27, 26, R29, 28, R31, R30. Lower order resistor is known as a XL, that is lower X, and higher order resistor, that is R27, that is known as a XH, higher order resistor. Okay. Similarly for resistor Y and resistor Z, and generally we are using these resistors to store your address. Okay, that can be of 16 bit, and so you can address up to 2 raised to 16 locations. Okay, so this is the resistor file. Next we will see the I/O resistor. The I/O resistors are the location in data memory which controls certain microcontroller functions. All of the data resistors and ports like DDR-B or port B are located in the I/O resistor portion of the memory. Okay, so whenever we are saying this ports, you have stored the data into that port, but that ports should require to be stored inside the controller, and that is stored in the some resistor that are known as a port B resistor, port C resistor, port A resistor, and so on. Okay, that are known as the I/O resistor, where you are storing your data while you are doing the I/O operation. Because they are needed so often, and there are special instructions which allow quick access to and modification of the I/O resistors. And the I/O resistors are non-volatile. That means whenever power goes off, its content will remain as it is. Okay, and they will initialize to a default value that may or may not need to be changed by your program. Okay, so this is the I/O resistor. Next we will see is the extended I/O. The most controller have more functions and peripheral than it can be supported by the 64-byte allocated to the I/O resistor. Thus, there is the extended I/O resistor section where you can use for the I/O operation. The extended I/O section only differs from the regular I/O section in that does not support all of the sum instruction to set or clear or copy its content. Okay, all of the instruction will not supported for this extended I/O section, but the function and purpose is exactly same. Okay, and like the regular I/O resistor, the extended I/O resistor are also non-volatile. So whenever power goes off, it will remain as it is. Next we will see the internal SRAM, that is the fourth portion of the data memory. The SRAM is known as the static random access memory. Okay, and it is the last part of the data memory. It is volatile memory, so that it contains cannot be guaranteed at the start. It will be having some garbage value or some zero value. Okay, so this is the volatile portion of your memory. However, unlike the flash, single byte can be written into SRAM, and its access time is quicker than the flash memory, and that's why it makes it easier or much better for storing the temporary values. SRAM is very convenient runtime memory, and it is great when you have more variables that can fit in the general purpose working register and needed a place to put them while they are not being used. Okay, because we are having limited number of registers, and if you have more data to store at while you are doing the executing the program, then you can use this SRAM memory portion where you can store your data for temporary duration. Okay, this is the SRAM. Next we will see the EEPROM, that is electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. This is the another non-volatile storage location in the AVR architecture. Unlike the flash memory, individual bytes may be written into it, although its access time is much more slower. Okay, the EEPROM is best served for the configuration setting. That means the things that are need not to be available at the startup, but may be changed at the runtime and used the next time the chip startup. Okay, so that kind of data you can store inside the EEPROM memory. Okay, so we are ending our today's session over here. If you have any query, then you can contact me.